You hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. The lady that was here just left for some reason.
Which one was that, Victoria? Yeah, that's from our team. What about Adelaja? Okay. I'm going to give her a call now and let her know this meeting has started.
So this is the who on the phone now?
That's my student nurse. He was present when we first called you.
All right.
So he's basically, he's covering this case along with me. So I wanted him present for his...
What's his name?
His name is Bonner.
Bonner.
Yeah.
Hello?
The meeting has started, my love. Have you joined?
Okay, I'll join now.
Thank you. All right, Bonner, she says she's about to join.
Yes, I am.
Does Bonner not want to show himself?
Bonner, do you mind
Or we can all go off screen and just do some.
opening up your camera just to show him that you're not a NPC and you're a real human being?
Oh no, it's not there. It's just more the,
No, that's perfectly fine. If you want them, please.
it's minimum requirements of non-oppressive standards really in all of medicine and welfare.
He will have zero impact on this meeting, though. He's more here literally to observe.
No,
because
I'm
he's
sure.
my
I'm
student,
sure.
so yeah.
All right. So this social worker we're waiting for.
She says she's going to join. We'll see some more boxes turn up, and she should be one of them. Once she's here, to be perfectly honest, we can begin.
So it's safeguarding separate, social worker separate, or no?
No, same. Social
Same
worker
division.
was assigned to the case when she sought safeguarding. I haven't sent her a care referral, so she's only responding based on that. Here she is.
I just accepted her into the meeting and she should be here.
Yep, she is.
I can't get my camera to...
It's okay. You don't need your camera. You don't need your camera on, buddy. It's fine.
Okay, that's fine. Apologies for that.
Okay, so this other person here is my lead. She is the lead for Islington discharges. So she's here as a discharge lead.
What's the name of that person?
Victoria Chaplin. So she's
Victoria
essentially
Chaplin,
she's
right.
my manager. Yeah.
Okay.
And Adelaja, just let us know that you can hear us and that you can see Faith Mustafa's family in front, because I've put the camera on.
Yeah, I can... I'm here. Yeah, thank you very much. But the camera is opposite. I don't know how, it comes this way, but I can see two people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll put it in landscape so you can see them both. Yeah.
If they're not going to be on camera, it's best we're not all
Are you
on camera,
able to go on camera, please?
Better now. It's better.
Yeah.
well,
Are you
we'll
able to
come
go
off
on
as
camera,
well.
please?
We can come off as well and just do inside.
I'll try that. I'm trying to sort that one out in a minute. Yeah.
Is this the social worker?
Just
Is this
give me a
other?
sec.
No.
Okay, so this meeting is now being transcribed and recorded so that we can have some minutes to look back on and review the important parts. Thank you so much for opening your camera, Adelaja.
Yeah. Is it dark or?
Yeah, it's okay. It's quite dark, but I mean, if you can somehow change the lighting, that would be fine. But
We cannot identify who that is.
at least you're present.
I'll try.
Okay. All right. So, would you like to commence the meeting?
Thank you.
So is this Ade, the social worker?
This is the social worker. Yes.
And is this the Ade I spoke to a few days ago?
Quite possibly.
This is Adelaja, social worker from Islington Complex Team. Thank you.
Okay.
I'm Shab Shami. It's my grandmother. This is my son.
It's your mum. It's his
So,
grandmother.
sorry, his grandma. You see, I'm doing the grandmother entry. Sorry, my mum.
I'm her grandson, Shanjar Shem.
You can take the mask as a figure. Yeah, you don't need to keep them on.
Okay,
You're
so
made best like this.
where do we go?
Ade, would you like to begin? Yes?
Sorry, is it possible for them to speak here? Because I think it's cutting out because of how far they are from the phone.
From the phone. So you want them to come a bit closer?
Hear you perfectly clear.
You want them to come a bit closer? Okay, all right. Let's just move this chair a bit closer. You might want to take your mask off. Okay. Remove your mask.
So why didn't you attend the meeting? Why are you on the screen? Why didn't you come to the meeting?
So sorry, are you talking to myself?
Ade.
Yeah, what was it?
They would like
What
to
was
know.
it saying?
They would like to know why you weren't able to attend in person.
Well, I'm unable to attend in person because of other meetings that I've got, and also I won't be able to travel in between the meetings to achieve that time.
I came 300 miles. I'm going to go back 300 miles. That's 600 miles because of the way you have handled it.
The option was given, and I chose the option of
Okay. Let's move forward.
coming
Good man.
and the camera.
All right.
Thank you.
Is it frozen or what is it? It just looks like.
Ade, how would you like to begin?
I don't know, you call this meeting and I'm part of the meeting. I'll just tell you what I've done so far. I think in relation to the discharge process that is in question, I've met with Faith on the ward. Yet people might say Faith hasn't got, it's been diagnosed with all sort of illnesses. I was actually thinking Rose, the housing, would be a part of this meeting, but unfortunately I can't see Rose here. Do you invite Rose or not? Hospital team?
I wasn't aware that we needed to invite Rose. Who is she?
She's the housing officer that visited together. The grandson, and he's aware that the day I visited, it was myself and Rose from the housing that visited, and the son spoke to Rose on the phone. He didn't even speak to me on the phone because Rose led a visit, a joint home visit in relation to the housing issues. She's covering that. She's still covering that. But the day we visited, it was myself, Rose. I give you the full name of Rose. I'll put it on the chat now.
Okay.
And the contact number.
So Rose was visiting the patient's property to deal with the ongoing housing issue.
Absolutely.
Okay. But I think this meeting is more pertaining to the safeguardings that has happened previously and during this admission.
Yeah, well, they have seen of it because the complaint against housing has been taken on by Rose the day we visited.
Yeah.
So I thought that should be Rose should be, even if is now she's unable to attend physically, she can still comment and give us feedback on what's happening with the housing situation.
Okay, but
That is part of the safeguarding anyway. So I'm gonna put Rose's name, full name. I'll put it on the 1 second on the chat for us to know. That we can contact her via email.
okay, Ade, if I may.
And a number as well. And our number as well, so we can contact her as well.
Okay, so
It's not necessary for her to be here, but I can give you the details now as we speak.
In direct response to that,
I'm just going to put that on the chat.
yeah, one moment, Ade.
Second,
One moment, please. The son would like to respond. Go ahead.
the chartered surveyor has put his reports forward. The solicitors have been allocated for a year. Housing officers cannot determine the disrepairs or the damp or what a chartered surveyor can do, because that's the qualification of the chartered surveyor. I couldn't do either. I'm not a chartered surveyor. And they've already made it clear it's uninhabitable. It has hazard 1s and 2s and 3s. It needs to be regutted and rebuilt. I mean, not rebuilt, regutted and refurbished. My mother had a heart attack because of the conditions in 8th of August last year, and 20 or 22nd of October 2020. Simon Wolfman was the cardiologist. He said that in the end he found out this is because of the conditions where she lives. Through his PA and all the other sectors, he contacted the GP, social workers, and also housing. The response of the housing was, throw my mother in a Travelodge hotel for a month,
Yeah.
and blame me that it was the son that arranged it. My mother is still blaming me for that. So I would appreciate if you can tell her it was you, the social workers, that did that in my absence when you couldn't wait for me for 4 hours to come 300 miles last September to this hospital. And because she's got dementia and the condition is getting worse, she can't make logic of all this. So she thinks I am the one who threw her in a hotel because of your actions. Is that clear? The housing manager assured us meaning, on the 10th floor there was a meeting with Michael Young, consultant, with me, my wife, number of medical staff, social services, Kefiwe was the social worker, and they assured a temporary accommodation is going to be given to her. I can see you talking. So this is why
She's
it's
on mute. Look. You can see the.
You're muted,
mute
Ade.
sign next to the name.
if he's going to stop me talking, it's best we just go to the solicitor. Let them write,
One
because
second, son, Mr. Mustafa. This is rules. The housing said she did not receive any invite.
my name is not Mr. Mustafa. My name is not Mr. Mustafa.
Regardless.
Who's done didn't get
So
invite?
that's the ward manager. Ade,
Yes.
so I understand the housing person is not present. We can still continue this meeting without them being present, and we could feed back to them after the fact. Is that correct?
So, yeah, I know that, but they need to contribute as well. So I'm just bear that in mind. Because she's on the phone now, she said she did not receive an invite. I'll pop her number. I've got.
It'll be better if you pop an email. It would be better if you pop the email into chat, and then I can add her in. I can add her in.
Email is on the chat.
Okay, I'll add her in now.
Email is on the
I'll add her in now. Please continue to liaise with the family. I'll be back in a second.
They're going to add you now. Thank you, Rose. Thank you.
Ade, can you hear me?
If you give us 1 second, the housing people, they're going to be on this meeting now so that they can respond to any housing issues or any problems that you have in relation to housing, specifically.
The cardiologist consultant says she cannot go back to that property. We will get the documents. The chartered surveyor says this property is a big danger to her health. She's had the third attack, heart attack, lung attack, because of the condition of the property, the damp, the mildew, the condensation, the dust. And you want to have her discharged to go and die in that rotten, disrepair property, yes? Is that what you are saying?
Just a second, could I add to
Now let him answer first. He probably don't want to answer me because he don't know the answer. Adi, I'm going to put it down that you decline to answer, okay?
I'm saying we will discuss the possibility of discharging her home with the hospital.
There is no possibility right now. There is no possibility.
Hold on.
We will let the cardiologist consultant decide. I am not a cardiologist. You are not a cardiologist. So
Hi, should we just wait for everyone to attend the meeting before we start kind of having conflict with each other, please?
well, the meeting was for 2:30. It's now nearly 3 o'clock.
Unfortunately, we do have priorities here, and unfortunately, things can change.
I traveled
We need
a
to attend
six.
other
I
meetings,
traveled.
unfortunately.
I traveled a 600-mile journey for this meeting. I'm sure you could have traveled 3 miles from up the road. I have also priorities. Believe me. You're not the only one. You don't prioritize. I'm sorry, but you don't prioritize over other people. Children and patients do, not social workers and housing. Okay? Children and the vulnerable will always come first.
Hello.
Hello.
It's me speaking on the meeting.
Oh, was it?
Yeah. So I just thought I'd come and let you know. I'd appreciate it if we can just start the meeting when everyone's on.
Well, what are you telling me
Okay.
for? You told me to come at 2:30. Why are you complaining to me for?
I'm just saying.
No,
we
but
can,
why are you
we can
picking on me for?
start.
Why are you
I don't appreciate you speaking
Why are
like
you
this. If we're
victimising
going to
me?
continue, we won't have the
No, but
meeting.
why are you victimising me?
Okay.
You're alive at the moment to very interesting places. So I suggest that you
Wait, what,
really
sorry?
consider. Okay. Why did you ask me to come here for 2:30?
I didn't ask you to come here for 2:30.
Whoever arranged.
Yeah.
We're not going to dictate this how people want to
But
cover this case up.
unfortunately, if
This is a
people become
cover-up case.
unwell,
This is a
we have
cover-up case.
we have
It's
priorities.
already gone in the media, and after
Unfortunately.
today, if this misconduct against this patient,
Absolutely, you're more than welcome
social
to.
services.
So we will commence when everyone's here, okay?
no, I don't mind that. I'm only done what Mel told me to do.
Yeah. Okay.
Then
so
all
we'll
of a
wait for Mel
sudden
to get
shutting
back
me
and
down
then
in the
we
middle of
can-
a sentence is not rude. It's not the way to do it, is it?
Okay.
It's not professional.
That's fine.
It's
We'll wait
very
for Mel
rude.
to get back, okay?
Well, I don't mind, but you should say it in advance so I know.
Fine.
Right, so we have to change the schedule here. Right, what time is it now? It says on there two. Right, 2:50. Nurse came in. Said to wait.
Just added her to this meeting.
Restart.
I know you have a lot to say. We're going to have to do this in a measured way, okay?
All right.
Because I understand you're quite emotional, but the idea is if you dominate this meeting, they will have no other reason but to terminate it, okay? In a calm and measured way, you can provide your evidence, but let's do it cordially, okay?
Right. No problem. We have somebody else that's joined us. Who
That's
is-
the person from housing, Rose. Hello, Rose.
Hello. I'm from the Intensive Tenancy Sustainment team, just to know I'm not for repairs, although I've asked them for an update on what's happening.
Thank you. Okay, Adi, please continue the meeting.
Well, myself and Rose visited the property, and I was unable to speak to the son because we got there before he rang, and we spoke to Mrs. Fitz Mustafa and the grandson. It was a joint meeting that was, useful. It was good. We gathered information, and we were pleased with what we got to progress that. We are in the middle of progressing that, and then she ended in hospital. So, my task during that period, my task is to, because of the family dynamics and all that, my task, one of my tasks to be done was to get an advocate because of the dynamics in the family. Yes, we I didn't speak. I think Rose and the main coordinator, I believe, spoke.
Sorry, to who?
Navigator, sorry.
Navigator.
Which navigator?
And
Which department's navigator?
The dementia navigator. She's the dementia navigator. She's no longer involved. Her name was Catherine Blatu Roach. I can put her full name in the chat.
I know the lady, yes.
Yeah, I've spoke to her a number of times.
And there was a recommendation that Mrs. Fitz Mustafa says to be transferred to a professional nurse in the community. Why we will organizing advocates.
Sorry, transfer
as
to.
we speak.
Sorry, transfer to a professional what?
Nurse.
Professional nurse. Sorry, thank you.
So as we speak,
It's been transcribed. I'll give you the full transcription. You don't have to write everything down. It'll be ready. It's recording. You've got to be recording everything we're saying.
The Care Act advocates for Mrs. Fitz Mustafa to increase her views on which is to represent her. Okay, so that is ongoing now. Even though they cannot meet up with this meeting, that will surely happen to sort of see how we help Mrs. Fitz Mustafa to contribute in the decision-making process, which could be housing or care support in the community. So that is the task that I have covered so far.
Did you say his name?
So,
Put your hand up if you want to ask a question, and I'll address it properly.
I don't understand him. Does it say or Hassan?
Could you just repeat that last line, please, Ade?
what I was saying, I said the advocate's input, which I'm trying to, which we discuss, that will happen. Unfortunately, they cannot join this meeting because it takes a process for them to organize allocated Care Act advocates to help Mrs. Fitz Mustafa
This is a professional discussion.
in the decision-making process. It could be housing, it could be care and support in the community, or it could be
So essentially,
accommodation,
somebody
alternative
on behalf
accommodation. It
of
comes
the
to that.
dementia specialist team in
So
the community
that is
assess the
ongoing.
care needs and then will
For
speak
me,
as an
to
advocate
make
for
sure
the
that
patient's
happens
needs.
before we discharge and all that. So that is where I am at the moment.
Okay. Rose, do you have anything to add, my dear?
I mean, apologies, I wasn't informed of or invited to this meeting, so I'm not particularly prepared with what it is that I'm being asked to share in this meeting as well.
I also am not aware of why. I believe maybe adult social care felt it was important to discuss the housing as it was one of the factors behind Faith's care.
Sure, I mean more in terms of, because I wasn't here for the start of the meeting, in terms of the information that's being shared, I wasn't here for what the intention of this meeting is and therefore how I can help or add to this.
Nothing has been shared yet.
Yeah, I think for the clarity of knowing where exactly we're at with the housing, that was very, very good. I think now we're probably going to speak more about Miss Mustafa's care needs and the ongoing safeguarding issues that have been prevalent in the past and during this current admission. So if you don't feel you...
In which case,
Before
no,
she
I mean,
goes,
I would still
before
be
she goes.
involved being a part of the intensive tenancy sustainment team. We work with social services to ensure that those complex cases have the right care in place, but I wouldn't be leading on decision making. So I think if appropriate, I would like to remain in the meeting because I will have to remain involved in the case, but I wouldn't like to add anything further to Ade at this point.
That's absolutely fine. Thank you.
Thank you.
So,
Ade?
So so like I said, advocates still the role of advocate is still crucial in having concrete decisions moving forward. I know this now makes it complex, because she said clearly that she was pushed by her grandson. I know maybe I wasn't there. She might bear circumstances where, maybe she was frustrated towards her grandson. I don't know. But what happened at that point, we don't know. We need to, find out.
Okay.
From the grandson.
If I...
We need to help her. We need to support her to be able to clear or say her view.
Okay.
Regarding her care and accommodation.
Okay. Has Miss Mustafa been formally assessed to have capacity to have insight and knowledge behind the care that she would like to have upon discharge?
Well, we have to separate it, didn't we? Surely, if she's saying she's not saying she's not going home. She says she's going home, but she doesn't want the grandson in her care. And I visited. She mentioned the same thing when I visited twice now. So, for clarity and support under the Care Act, we need to invite Care Act advocates to strengthen her view, to represent her, and then we can make best interest with if she's deemed not having capacity.
Okay, I think this is a great opportunity then to address both the son and the grandson. I just want to step back to allow the meeting to continue. I just wanted to state one thing though. In my first initial contact with both the grandson and the son, they have both made me privy to an event where the police was called out because the grandson was assaulted by Miss Mustafa, and there apparently is documentation or a police report to go along with this. She was formally charged for assault and battery, is that correct? Yes. To which the grandson said he did not wish to press charges. Now, were you aware of this prior to this meeting, Ade?
Well, that was the safeguarding before I took over, but I'm not saying whether it's happened or it doesn't happen, whatever, but like I said, a clear representation is needed here from her to support her, and that is what the Care Act says. So we need to maintain that. If you put it forward to me that, is it true or is it not true? I don't know. I wasn't there. So we just need to have more evidence support around the vulnerable person, which is my client.
Anything else?
Yeah, that's the stage. That's how I can answer that question.
So that's your case, yes? That's your case. Nothing else to add? Anything else?
No, not on that point.
No.
And then we
yes.
had a previous, a professional commenting the son being threatened today. So that too is not helping this case.
Could you repeat that? We just missed that. Sorry, could you repeat again?
Yeah. From records, professionals has claimed that the son is aggressive to them and they wish to drop or to change to another professional because they cannot handle that aggressiveness.
That was regarding the grandson, sorry, not the son.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, that was regarding the grandson.
Yeah, the grandson. Yeah.
The grandson is...
Basically, it's been put forward. We've basically been put forward to look after him, after Miss Mustafa at home. Behind the scene, we don't know what's happening. So we need to be cautious of with the family dynamics.
So could you expand on where you got this?
Because if she's maintaining that she doesn't want the grandson in the process of looking after her.
hold on. You made a statement. I'm trying to respond to you, and now you're going on to something else, and you're obstructing the question. I can see that. So allow me to answer you. Then go on to the next one. You made an allegation against JR. Do you find this is true, or is it malicious? Would you say
It's malicious and false, untrue.
malicious, false, and untrue? Says my son about your statement. Before we say anything else, when we leave this hospital, I'm going to advise him which solicitor to speak to today to get advice, and then you'll hear the rest next week through the post. Now, can you tell me the name of the professional or professionals, the date, approximate time, the location, and where my son committed anything offensive? And by the way, aggressive is not offensive. I'm aggressive now. That does not mean it's bad. It means I will stand and, speak my point. That's good aggression. You're talking negative aggression, which is offensive behavior, is what you mean. So if you can tell me, please, location, personnel, when, time, date, how long did it last, and what was the outcome, and how many times, and I'll write it down. Yes, Ade, go ahead.
I can't tell you anything about that.
So you don't know when it was. So you
I can go back to records that I read, which we have already part of my, reason why to get an advocate to work in with your mom. So I'm not here to.
you made Ade, you made very serious allegations against an 18-year-old. Are you aware of that? It's a very serious allegation. I'll try and be helpful to you, Ade. Allow me to tell you this. I have 9 children. I have a newborn baby, and I have a 41-year-old son in the Turkish military. Not a single one has a criminal record, not has assaulted anyone. None of them have done anything what you are saying. Now I've asked you to tell me when. You said you don't know. I've asked you to tell me who. You said you don't know. I've asked you to tell me what happened, what date. You said, I don't know. So you're looking at a document on the screen, and you're making accusations against a young lad of 18 about an empty screen with no allegation. But you're making an allegation. But there's no date. There's no location. There's no victim. Is there a police report? Do we have a social worker's report from Gateshead maybe, who is interfering and obstructing this case, called Charlene Wright? Maybe Sonia Lodeman? Maybe Sabrina Downey? They're losing a case in Northeast on a very terrible thing they did. And this, Adi, I tell you, I know why you are doing what you're doing now. And I suggest you don't get yourself tangled up with misconduct, because this is misconduct in office, Ade. You've just got involved in it. There's other people that are with us in this conversation at the moment. I already said that when I came in. We will be live to people who are monitoring this problem. I'm asking you again, if this young lad has been offensive and is dangerous or is behaving criminal, tell me who he done this to. I've asked this 3rd time I'm asking you.
I maintain my stand. I'm a social worker to Faith, to Mrs. Faith, to Mrs.
I know who you are.
And she's saying she doesn't want a grandson to care for her in her own home. We, social services, we work with other professionals. If it is been true, but we don't know yet. So let's bring
This is a separate topic, Ade. I've asked you, you've tried to,
Can I talk?
listen, you've tried to make allegations to make use for what you're doing.
I have respect.
This boy lives there. This boy, he lives in that property, and he's not under the care of my mother. My mother is under the care of this boy. We have medical professionals who are witnesses. We have DWP and documents from HMRC and Inland Revenue who are witnesses. We have a psychiatrist who is a witness. His mother is a witness. His 4 aunts are a witness. Video recordings, loads of recordings every day in that property that he has kept is a witness, independent. Okay, what you are doing, you're putting my mother's life at risk, which could kill her this time, because already 3 times she suffered heart attacks, multiple issues with the lungs from the condensation, from the damp, from all the rot in the property. The dementia nurse Catherine wrote to you, your department, Ade, last February, and said, this lady cannot live in this place, it is dangerous for her health. A consultant psychiatrist, Adi, wrote to your department 8 years ago and said, this lady cannot live in here, it is detrimental to her health. Simon Wolfman, consultant cardiologist, 22nd of October 2020, through his PA, and I have spoken to Simon many times, very good consultant and very honest doctor. He has got in touch with your department, Ade, and said the housing is the cause for the heart attack that she nearly died. She cannot go back to that property until it's repaired. I can go on. I've got another 14 to 16 different professional witnesses that have written to your department last 10 years and to housing, Rose. I've got the copies of the letters to housing. I've got the letters of everything to social services. Kefiwe, last August and September, assured me that they're going to get my mum to temporary accommodation and the property will be refurbished. We called solicitors. Solicitors bought C9 surveyors. Last July, surveyor made his report. I have 38 pages. Damp, mildew, condensation, water in cavities, broken pipes, broken electrics, crack in floors, windows jammed, extractors for 15 years have not been changed. It's dripping onto all over her kitchen. I won't go on to all the rest. There's a lot more. There's claims that you haven't paid her for yet, housing, from upstairs number 12. There's been 4 floods. 3 of the floods you still haven't paid her damages for. I will be pressing on that on Monday at maximum. I have approached solicitors and I've assisted my mother to put to Islington Council two personal injury claims. 2 personal injury of death experience. October 2020, August 2022. Now there will be one from this year. You already got personal injury of negligence and misconduct to cause death against my mother. Don't try to use all these little things against me, because you know, I can go from here today and I can also, if you like to call my bluff, I can also raise very serious issues. Very, very serious issues. And all these things you're saying are there. And Rose, be careful, it doesn't get into the public what you've said from your mouth. And then looked at the notes over the last 10 years, 2 years, 1 year, last year, this year. This is a very serious case against the local authority, local services, housing and adult social services in Islington. Be careful, Ade. Don't continue anymore, because you're going to be named as one of the people in that misconduct litigation. And you know that you're doing it. And I know that you know, because I know the real story, and I hear the malicious things you're telling me. That doesn't exist. What did you want to say, June?
I wanted to say that my grandmother, your mom, her condition is gotten to the point where she no longer knows how many or who her grandchildren are, because of the involvement of this Hassan character, which I have on numerous attempts informed the police, adult social services, the Children's Social Services were involved because of what they said the seriousness of their concerns were. And I'm just being ignored everything I'm saying. She doesn't know who her grandchildren are.
How long have you been looking after her?
2 years now. I've been looking after my grandmother for 2 years.
Video recorded
In which
every day?
The first year, without or with very minor influence of this Hassan individual, went very smoothly. Since he started to constantly come to her all the time, he was talking to her and had influence with her, she almost lost all of her memory. She doesn't want to know anything about me being there since he has been,
What has he been saying about your mother? That she works in a whorehouse, does she?
That she's working as a prostitute in brothels, and that my dad is a pimp, and that he's murdered his daughter, and because of him, my 2 younger brothers, my next younger and one down from here, are in mental hospitals, which is not the case. He's constantly telling things to my grandmother.
Is he still there?
Yes.
No, he's not. He's not because you can't in his glasses. It's his.
Yeah, all of them apart from Ade are all muted, but they are all still there.
Because they don't want to hear it. Okay, make a good note. For the benefit of the recording, they've muted it.
They can hear us. We just can't hear them.
Okay. Right.
He's constantly telling my grandmother that I am trying to poison her, that my dad is stealing money from her, which I might add to that my dad hardly had any involvement at that time at the address. He was about 300 miles away, when approximately £2,000 in cash from the right side of the living room drawer has absolutely disappeared completely over the weekend when I went to visit my parents at their address 300 miles away from my grandmother.
And you came back.
When I came back, my grandmother was insisting on the story that she gave £100 to a friend to buy her perfume, which, when I asked her which perfume, she said that it was the Chanel 5, which she could not show me, she did not have, and that she spent the rest, approximately £1,900, on shopping and bills. Her gas and electric at the time were nearly finished, and her fridge and freezer was empty. Prior to Hassan's involvement, she had always had full cabinets, full fridge, full freezer, all the time. She, on this last occasion...
You went to social services to ask them to help her, didn't you?
On a number of occasions, where even adult social services had got involved, and they saw her condition that she was living in. They've even given me money on a number of occasions to top up her gas and electric for my grandmother, and they have given vouchers and money for me to go and do shopping for her, because my mom...
What about the police removing Hassan from there, telling he must not be there? What happened with that?
As well, the police was called on a number of occasions, in which most of the time he ran out as I was on the call to the police.
What did he do? What did he do?
He kept running out when I was on the call to the police.
Running out, yeah.
Resulting in the police never, seeing him there, because as I was on the call, he ran out. On one occasion, he was actually sleeping in the living room on the settee about 2 o'clock at night. I asked him, which I had recorded, what's he doing there? He and my grandmother kept saying that he's just visiting as a friend, but he's coming to sleep there almost every night after I fall asleep. He sneaks in at night. I have no idea how, if he has keys or she lets him in or some other way. But on a number... I'll get to that bit in a minute. On a number of occasions, my grandmother was also confused as to how he actually got there, because we were both asleep at the time. He was using my grandmother's shower, her washing machine, food that I bought with my own finances and that my mom and dad supplied money for. because her account was locked because of this Hassan's influence, so she no longer has access to her own money.
No, she doesn't go. She doesn't want to do it.
She's refusing to go, but because of her capacity, they've locked her card. They said that she has to go in person.
There was a capacity test.
Yeah,
and she does not have capacity.
Yeah, so
it's been recorded.
They said that she has to go with ID to her branch with a member of her family or
social services.
Social services.
And they did go with social services
on one occasion.
Yep. Because of no capacity.
But otherwise, she refuses to go. Now, me and my dad have heard on an occasion where Hassan was telling her that he wants £10,000 from her for a down deposit on a property.
Which you've got recorded.
Which I have recorded him saying it.
What about what he's saying to her to do against you that you got recorded on the system that you bought here today?
Yeah.
What has he been saying to her?
Just about to mention, he's been saying to her, convincing her that I am no good for her. He says to her, if the police come, if you ever speak to social services or anyone else in official positions, to tell them that she doesn't like what I cook, I'm trying to poison her, and many things like that.
So that he can stay there. You being there is obstructing this criminal from getting in that property.
Food that I have bought, sometimes in the middle of the night, disappears from chicken fillets, chickens, steaks, everything. By the time we wake up in the morning, there's almost no food left.
Tell him that you take films and photographs every morning and every night and every day on a calendar. It's all recorded on film. And the receipts and the foods and his presence.
Which, as my dad just said, I have video recordings, pictures and receipts of all the food that I have been buying. Also on this last occasion, on a Friday, early August, 4:30 in the afternoon, I was in the kitchen about to start cooking when I heard my grandmother screaming. When I went to open the door to ask if she's okay to find out what happened, she was on the floor in the middle of the living room, which is where she was when the police and ambulance had attended. She told me to call the police. She told me that the people that pushed her have gone out of the living room door, the back door.
You have a film of this, don't you?
Yes, I recorded her saying this. So when I went to check, the living room door was partially open, in which it was locked previous to this event. And on the table, I had found a battery bank, power bank, which I have here on the table, which was not there before this event.
Take it down.
Way close.
No,
Just present it to the screen.
Just right there. And then we're going to exhibit to the police, yeah? That's what he uses when he's behind the curtain or hiding in the garden and his phone's going to switch off.
Yeah.
He plugs that battery to it until he can get back in again. And he left it on the table and he ran out that day because it wasn't there before he started cooking.
Yeah. And when the paramedics and police came that day, she initially told them that she told me to call the police, and that she's not entirely sure exactly who or how it happened, how they got in. She had no idea. So the paramedics have taken her to the hospital.
Did the police or paramedics ask her what happened? Did she answer to them?
They did. She said she doesn't know. She said she can't remember.
But you've got all that recorded, her answering, haven't you?
Yes.
And saying that they've gone that way. I saw them, they've gone that way. It's on your recording, haven't you?
Yes.
Actually, I've got recording copies of it as well. So what you're saying, Ade, is fantasy, I'm sorry to say. Okay? You need to reconsider, my friend, and don't let my mother die because your bosses are telling you how to conduct this case. Sorry, but let's be honest. Let's be aggressively, brutally honest. All right? Let's not be offensive. or rude, but let's fight for justice here, and for the vulnerable, and for the elderly. Okay?
Have you finished? Can I say something?
I haven't finished, but please talk.
We don't have enough time to guys.
Well, I think everybody, we need to leave here in the next 5 minutes.
Right.
I'm telling you now, and I'm maintaining what I've said earlier on.
You can't tell me anything, Adam.
All what you said,
Please don't
all what you said, that we need to support
interrupt.
Mrs. Faith Mustafa to make decision. Yes, she might not have capacity in managing her finances, but that doesn't mean she hasn't got capacity to contribute in the process of making decisions regarding her care or accommodation. Thank you. I'll bring in, Care Act Assist and Advocate will be supporting her.
Will that be somebody from will that be somebody from her culture and her understanding?
Well, we can, let's all rethink.
Well, you can't rethink it because as time has gone by.
It's the name of the company. I think it's the name of the company that provides the
Rethink.
independent mental capacity assessor.
Right.
So Rethink is the company. It's not.
Rethink.
Yes.
Excuse me. Pardon me. Sorry.
Let him finish. Okay.
Right. Well, another thing is this child, when he was born, up to 3 years, he lived in that property. Then he went back there from when he was 7 till 9. He's stayed there and lived there last 2 years. And under the laws, I'm not going to quote them to you because you don't know them, so it's a waste of time. Your barristers can check in, your solicitors. And, I'm not too much of making people happy when they do things wrong. I'm sorry, I just can't help myself, yeah? That qualifies him as a resident permanently of that property, even if he's not on the tenancy. That's been established with one of the senior admins of Islington Council. What's her name?
Sue Marshall.
Right, if you speak to Sue Marshall, she's in senior admin, overlooks things. She has already agreed that on record, we have it on record, that under those circumstances, he does qualify as a resident. He doesn't need to be a tenant to be a permanent resident. And he can prove all of that. If your claim now is you believe what we know is not right, you must make an application to a court to evict him. Do you understand that? And he will get representation to come to court to prove how long he's been there, how many years he's lived there previously, and if the law says there's nothing social services or the Prime Minister can do about the law, because the law is there. It's not about what I want or what you want. It's what the law says. So if you want to evict him, go to court, you'll get advices from legal, and then you can have it out in court. But he qualifies as a resident, and you need to check those documents. If you don't have those documents, we can send them to you tomorrow to help you have a look, and you might say, oh, well, we didn't know that. Okay?
We have to wrap this meeting up, so if possible, I'll just stop you there. Ade, yes, please let us know what steps are to be happening next, please.
Yeah, we'll let you know. The advocate will have to visit her and visit hospital because he is safe where she is now, according to what is happening with the family dynamics and all that, because she says clearly, she kept saying that she doesn't want the son, grandson and the son in her care, and then she's not safe, and that's why we have this meeting. If not, she would have gone home.
Okay.
So this is Victoria. Addy, do you have a time frame of when this will happen? Because just to note, she is medically optimised and she is ready for discharge.
Absolutely. That's why I said she should have gone home. I visited her. She told me she wants to go home. She repeatedly said she wants to go, but she doesn't want the grandson and the son in in her property. So for that reason, their advocates need to support her. We need to make best interest mistake, which is not happening today. Unfortunately.
And have we not addressed the fact that the home is environmentally not safe, or is it safe for habitation and she can return back there?
Do you mean structure-wise?
No, I mean according to Islington and the intensive housing team, I'm sure that there were advice before for the patient to go somewhere else, but I just want to rule out if the home is safe for her to return, that is all.
Well, housing is here, Rose is here, they will take that on board.
Yeah, I asked for a recent update from the legal repairs team, who the case sits with, so it's dependent on their response regarding where the works are at. If the home is not suitable for her to return to, then we will complete an application for temporary accommodation.
Thank you so much, Rose. And you'll be able to forward that information on to Ade, correct?
Absolutely, yes.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Melly. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone, for attending.
Thank you very much for your support. Thank you. Thank you, everyone, for coming down.
Have a nice day.
We get positive, common ground next week. We really speed up advocates to visit her.
He's muting us just because this meeting was slightly painful to listen to, based on one thing and one thing only.
Thank you very much.
The domination of egos. Now, obviously, Ade is trying to maintain a level of professionalism, and he's going based on a very, very strict script, okay?
Obviously.
Yeah, which is believable.
We're fighting for our mother and grandmother here, nothing else.
I understand. And so, essentially, what I said was, the idea is, if justice is going to be served, okay, even in a courtroom, you have to conduct yourself in a manner that doesn't seem like you're trying to dominate the conversation, because essentially there is two allegations or aspersions that's been made against this lovely family, okay? Number one, an idea that you guys are difficult, or that there is a difficult family dynamic, yeah? That, again, I would like you and your solicitor to try and address, because the idea is now going forward about credibility, okay? And I know this because I'm legally trained. Credibility essentially is, if they
I know what it is, but they're saying our credibility is questionable.
No, they're saying that there was a level of aggression that was displayed by, I cannot believe it's coming from this young man, but they're saying that in instance there's a family dynamic and that there's aggression. Okay. Now let me just quickly give this to my colleague.
All right.
Which one is yours, Milo?
And they couldn't give any sort of name, position.
No. So this is my point now. The idea is, that if for whatever reason you're not happy with Islington's conduct, the response and the outcome that they come up with, legally you have a right, okay? And I will say, because I am not only just working in this country and I've been born here, but I'm bound by a different law together, and that is the law of God, okay? Now, when it comes to families and cultures, I will never try my best to say that the place I work for should override culture that has been in place for millennia. Now, I understand when you get an elderly person in your family, you don't ship them off to a care home. Correct?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I believe it's your God-given right to want to look after your family member who is elderly and mentally or physically declining in health. They have laws that they've set up that states if they cannot engage in a conversation with the family to determine how they support that person, they only have a duty to that person, which is why I asked them very early in the call, has he assessed Faith's cognition? Because you've told me already she's got advanced dementia, and this has happened over more than a decade ago. I said, are we talking 5 years? You said more than 20, maybe 30 years. Mm-hmm. Now again, you guys, if you're presenting this in a legal manner, and to help your credibility, rather than it just comes out of your mouth when you say this, we would like to give them proof, yeah? Mm-hmm. Because the idea is, I believe you guys have substantial proof to not only recognize that you and Faith have been, well, number one, unfairly judged.
Victims.
Yes. She's definitely a victim in all of this because, let's face it, nature is against her. So she's unable to even say the person that was in the house. If she was able to
No,
report
but the
that when the police
services
came.
have not protected her, even though he's made them aware. They haven't protected her from this man, and he's driven her into psychosis from dementia.
Well, let's
This is
look at
the
it like
problem.
this. She had dementia before Hassan came along, yes?
Yeah, dementia.
Okay.
Yes.
The home environment is not suitable for habitation, correct?
Well, last year in this hospital, on the 10th floor, we had a meeting that said, correct, it's not.
Okay.
But 1 year later on,
That's
we're
my
still doing
point.
the
That's
same
my
thing.
point. That's how I even came to know about this entire
They done the
dynamic.
same thing last
There was a
year as well.
safeguarding last year. So my point is, the borough themselves, okay? Let's just talk about Islington Adult Social Care, just in isolation. So the safeguarding came to them last year. There was a meeting on the hospital board, and less information must have been given to them because the outcome was she ended up leaving the hospital. So the hospital was satisfied that a meeting had happened, an outcome had come with all parties, and the patient had left the hospital.
No, that's not. What happened was 2 social workers came here before I can get here, or my wife, and you know her condition, dementia and so on.
Yes, I do.
And
I also know
convinced her.
that your mother's also said she doesn't like you or your wife.
No, but then.
No, but my point is.
No, but this is not correct.
No. Whether it's correct or not, I witnessed her saying this to me.
No, she will. She will. Since this guy.
Yes, of course.
She's-
And also, she was in the hotel, correct? And she blames you for that. So
She thinks I put her there.
So my point is, you've got 3 things that you need to address. Number 1, your mother's cognition is not great going forward, to the point where she's been aggressive and has attacked your son. Okay? So that might mean that even if you really want to look after her in her home, or if they find her a better place to live because it's more habitable, looking after her on your own might be beyond your capability. Because if she continues to be violent and aggressive, then she's going to need to have the level of support going forward.
Without Hassan, this won't happen.
That's
Without the
fine.
Hassan mixture,
Yes, okay.
they are fine.
Okay, but at the same time, even if Hassan's not around, I'm saying her own care needs going forward,
But this has never happened like this before without this.
but there's no reverse. My point is, at her age, there will be no reverse. It's likely that if she had advanced dementia a couple of decades ago, it's probably progressing. Now, if it can be reversed, and it's the factor of the home environment and medications, that's fine. But we need to prepare ourselves for the inevitability that we need to address Faith's care going forward. That's what I thought the whole purpose of this meeting was, to address your concerns of what's happened in the past.
But the
to
problem
rule-
is
let
this
me
man.
finish.
This is the
Just-
problem.
Exactly. To rule Hassan out as a member of the family and that he should have never been involved with her, that you can show the police reports and all the other evidence that you have that shows that this man has not been interacting with your mother in a positive light. Please.
If I could just add that the condition of the property is to the point where even me, I've come back today with my dad because I was with him in the northeast for a short while.
Well, yesterday, last night.
Within half an hour of re-entering that property,
Coughing.
Yes, coughing.
It's worse than I get. Yes.
And my dad as well. So her in her
Definitely not good
age
for
and
her.
Lungs,
condition,
heart, brain.
definitely not.
And you also said that prior to Mum having her collapse, you noticed that she was very, very pale, correct?
Yes.
Green,
And so,
grey, yellow.
regardless of her eating, regardless of her having a wash, regardless of her walking around her home, because according to, if you look at her on the ward, she can get up, she can feed herself. So on the optics, you're like, oh, this woman's fine, she doesn't need any care. But when you think about how debilitating it is to live in a home environment and what it's probably doing to her cognition, all these factors need to be addressed, okay? I thought the
No, because
most
you're
important...
looking after her here and she's managing the walking and eating. But for her to every morning, every lunchtime, every evening, guaranteed to get up and cook that food, she can't do that.
And that's my point. I know going forward, the level of care support that you provided her is literally, it dwarfs whatever Hassan might claim that he's done for her, okay? What I really wanted to ensure with this meeting was to rule Hassan out as being anyone that should be ever connected to this patient. To actually say, well, how is it that you've been living there for years, okay? But in the care capacity, since you were 16, you took on the care support.
Yes.
You've cooked, ensured that she is being fed, that she is having a wash, wakes up, things are there provided for her, cups of tea, whatever, and you keep her company, which I think is the most important thing at that age, that she's not living there on her own with nobody, okay?
right.
Now, I don't know how many friends or family that would want to come and visit, but if the home environment is undesirable, it might seem better that you probably take her out rather than have people come in, okay? So I'm not going to address what you've done for her, okay? And at your age, I think it's actually exemplary, all right? Even if you do look 14 years old. But what I would like to do is also to clear you from this, okay? Because, and please don't take this the wrong way, because I think it's your nature, and I think your nature, you'd make a very good barrister. but you have a very aggressive demeanour. And by aggressive, like you said, if you
I take this as a compliment.
it's a very good compliment.
And I won't
if
change
you,
it.
If you hear inaccuracies, if you hear misinformation, if you
Listen.
hear falsities, you address it immediately.
Exactly.
And that's essentially what I did by calling you. Because if I just stayed back, my job is just to go, the borough is saying this,
I realised.
and the borough is saying that, you need to go. If you don't go, we'll call the police. Okay, so how could I knowingly know that
No,
because of
we
families
appreciate it.
and culture, that I'm going to take a living relative away from someone else, and then what, have strangers going to look after her? No one can do a better job than you can. From the language point of view, from the food, from just knowing on a day-to-day
The
basis.
love, the memories, the family, the life.
She's your relative, exactly. Now, what they might point to is this. I didn't even know you had 14 children. That is quite impressive. 9, sorry.
9.
Right. So you've got 9 children. You live 300 miles away. Where do you currently reside?
Well, I live in Northeast at the moment.
Where in the northeast?
No, but I mean, where I live, it's not somewhere I can take my mother.
That's fine. Where do you
Yeah.
live?
It's a bit confidential at the moment. If there's a reason,
Are you
tell me, I'll
military?
tell you. Huh?
Are you military?
No. But why did you ask?
Just say
tell me,
the
and I'll try
area,
to
man. Just say the area. I live in Slough. I live in Surrey.
Gateshead.
There you go.
Gateshead. Newcastle. I didn't understand
Mate,
the
you said
question.
300
My
miles.
mistake. I'm
thinking
sorry.
you're in Scotland.
Not far. That's half an hour away.
Okay, fine. But Gateshead, that's fine. I don't need to know the
Gateshead,
address.
Newcastle.
I'm not trying to visit. I'm not
No, I
sending you
didn't
anything.
understand the question. I'm sorry.
That's fine. That's fine. Okay. Listen,
It's a cruel system, okay?
it is.
And I don't think in a million years in the past or in the future, any single creature, let alone human beings, should be subjected to any unfairness. And I tell you what, I go on fire when I see it. It has put me in a lot of problems in my life when I've stood up for other people. But I have never ever thought about myself first.
No.
I see the wrong. Don't do it.
We're very much alike in that regard, but do you know what I had to do? And it's known as something which I don't think you really are swayed by. It's called
No.
self-preservation. And the reason why I had to fall back and realise this, because the idea is sometimes the loudest person in the room isn't the smartest, but sometimes the smartest person in the room isn't also the most silent. You can't get your point across if it seems like, even if I'm the smartest person, but I'm telling everyone I'm smart, they don't want to hear what I have to say now, because they also get a sense of, I might feel like I'm better than them, and immediately they switch off. Now,
I never think that you understand that. They think that. I don't think that.
That's
I'm just representing the justice.
yes, absolutely.
I'm
but-
not interested in egos and
No,
I'm
but
better or
absolutely.
they're better. I don't care.
But absolutely, but listen, if
They can
you're,
do what they want about me.
but if you're a hot stone, yeah, trying to tell a snowflake to relax, guess what? They're melting in your presence. So the
Exactly.
idea is you have to understand, because we're all elements, all right? But some of us are more weaker than the others. Some of us are more reactive and adaptive. Others are just stubborn. Now, you have to understand, even though on the inside you are a tiger, turn yourself into a pussycat just to enable the meeting to flow. You have overwhelming evidence, but the idea is that the next meeting that we do has to be far more structured, okay?
And we can't do it on the phone.
We can't do it on the phone, that's fine. But the idea would be that I want to make sure this next meeting, we seek to be cordial and let people speak first, hands up, and then when it's ready, then you can address. We do not talk over people,
And
okay?
we need to bring a solicitor. Well, I'd rather just let
I
the solicitor speak.
Would not tell you not to do that,
Yeah.
okay? Because I feel like at this stage now, the solicitors probably teach you how to be a bit more cordial in these meetings anyway, and probably speak for you.
No, that won't work with me. There's too much going on in my life at the moment.
That's
I
fine.
can just keep quiet as long as
Can you
everything
though?
on the page.
Can
No,
you?
no. As long as a spokesman is there
Yes.
to say the injustice
All of-
and necessities,
That's fine, that's
I will
fine.
sit there and I
That's
will
fine.
look. I don't need to talk.
That's fine.
But if I don't talk and he doesn't talk and the other man doesn't talk, who's going to be left? As the old story goes.
So when I left and I stepped out, did they address Hassan whatsoever?
They run away from that subject from beginning to end.
They never
Nobody
mentioned it
wants
once.
to.
Okay.
They don't want to hear about Hassan. Now Hassan has got a few people that work in the council. One of them is somebody called Sembra, who works in all people's dementia and all mental services.
Yeah.
And there's also another couple of people in Islington, which we're about to get their details anytime
Is
now.
this your legal counsel helping you with this, yeah?
No. This is people I know in the community over years.
Okay.
Whistleblowers, if you like.
Okay, good.
And this is why he's managing to do all this.
Yeah.
He's meant to be homeless, nowhere to go. That's why he's hiding there. But we have found details in Inland Revenue and the Crown that says he owns an elevator business, and he's the director, and it's the company that Islington Housing used for all their elevators. and stairs.
So he has a connection to the borough.
Absolutely.
And you think he's abusing this connection to prey on elderly people?
And if I could just add to
Go
that,
ahead, please.
On the 8th of August last year, when my grandmother
morning,
came to this hospital, when I was with her, up sometime in the middle of the day on the 8th of August, the day she was admitted to the hospital, you called the hospital to get updates on her position.
Yeah, that's right.
And when you asked for the details for the next of kin, and the details was this lift company number. When you called the number,
It was the lift company, and it was Hassan that answered the phone.
and he was trying to.
And his mobile.
You said that he was trying to put on like a Cockney accent, even though he
Been
couldn't
hard
do
when
it
you don't speak
properly.
English properly.
Yeah, he
So he
yes.
tried to mask his true voice.
That's it.
Yeah.
And somehow, with zero connection to the Mustafa clan, he has written himself into a hospital record as their next of kin.
Next of kin.
He's done it.
And his
And
name,
also
his
social
name is also in
services.
this. His name is also here as well. So again,
So, again.
as in, if I look on the hospital system now,
Yes.
I'll get your number, which is how I found you in the first place. Your number, which does not even pick up to your phone, so the number's weird. But Hassan's name is also there.
Hassan, cool.
Just Hassan.
Or Hassan.
Just Hassan. No
And he's a
surname.
nephew.
Doesn't even
of
say
his
connection. It just says Hassan.
And no number?
There is a number, but it doesn't even pick up. It's like
No,
static.
he changed that when the police got him. He had his keys in his pocket.
So again, now this
So
is
they took him out
this
and
is the
changed his
important.
number.
This is the important thing. Your interaction with Hassan. So I understand he put hands on you, didn't he?
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah. And you've already consulted with the police about this.
Yes.
And then the police question Hassan, do you live in this property? No. But then you need to leave, right? So there is a record. The records that I need you to have is obviously the incident where your grandma was charged for assault